What's up, everybody? Dre Baldwin, Dre all day. This video is actually on one of my other channels. I decided to put it on this main channel so all y'all can see it. It's some off the court stuff that don't have to do with playing basketball or even sports. Check this out. Work on your game.
DreAllDay.com.
How to meet more females, part 2. In the previous video, part 1 video, I talked about two things. Was number 1, you had to accept who you are as a person, and number 2, you had to be confident as who you are as that person so you would attract the right people to you. And this one I want to talk about some information I got from some attractive women whom I know personally, because some people had asked me this question and I answered it, but then after I had answered the question, I was talking to a woman who I know who's very attractive. Actually, a couple of them I asked the same question, and I said to them, hey, what is it that makes you as a woman be attracted to another man? Like, what is it? Like, I told him the exact situation. I said, I had a guy, a young male, ask me, how do you get really attractive women to like you? What is it that makes you like another man? What is it? Tell me what your answer is that makes you like another male. And all the women's, their answers was exactly the same. It was a consensus answer, which means the same thing they all said, same principle, which was this: you attract who you are. You attract who you are. So these women basically said, if they look at themselves, when they see another guy that they like, that's because they see that guy at the same level at which they see themselves. So if a woman is up here, let's say if you give a woman a scale 1 to 10, and that woman is a 9. If she's a 9 and she sees a guy who's a 6 or a 7, she's probably not going to be that attracted to that guy. He might be a nice guy. He might have great conversation. He might be cool. He might check off all the boxes on the list. But if she sees herself as a 9 and she sees him as a 6 or 7, now mind you, as another part to that I'm gonna get to, she's not going to be attracted to him. Now the other part of that I got to get to, I got to make sure I put this out there, is not always just looks. It's not just looks that make you a 9 or a 10 or a 5 or a 2. It could be a woman could look at a guy and say, okay, if he has a good personality and I like the way he communicates and he can make me laugh and he's ambitious and he listens to me and he cares about what I had to say, not just about himself, those are the things that make him a 9. And then if he looks good, that's a bonus. Some women look at it that way. And there's some women, on the other hand, who look at it like, okay, if he has all those things, those are great, but if he don't look good, then I can't mess with him no matter what he checks off everywhere else. If I don't like him physically, then we can't do it. It's just not going to work. He got to be on my level or higher for me to get with him. And that's just how it is sometimes. Y'all have to understand that. So each woman, each human being, whether male or female, because any of you females watching this, but females is a whole different conversation, and I'm going to address that in a separate video. Not in a separate video, but in a separate part of this video. A woman is attracted to who she is. So if you look at a woman, you males out there, you go to school and you look at a girl and you consider her to be an 8.5 on a scale of 1 to 10. She's an 8.5. And you look at yourself in the mirror, and you got to be honest about your own self-assessment. If you look in the mirror and you see yourself as a 6, and she's an 8.5, there's your reason why she's not attracted to you. If you see yourself as, you look in the mirror and you see a 6, you know who you're going to keep attracting to you? You know who the girls are who are going to be liking you? They all going to be 6s. All of them going to be 6s. You got to start seeing yourself at the level that you want to be. I'll give you an example. When I was in, what level could I say I was in? When I was like, let's say 14 or 15, I wasn't that experienced with girls. So when I first got to high school, I noticed that a lot of girls who I looked at, I considered them to be attractive. They seemed to be attracted to me. They would talk to me. They would say stuff to me. They would try to get me to talk, even though I was kind of quiet at the time. And they were more attractive than any other type of girls who had been attracted to me up until that point in my life. So what I realized was they was looking at me and they was seeing something higher than what I was seeing in myself. So let's say they was seeing an 8. But I was looking in the mirror, I was only seeing a 6. So what happens then? If people look at you and they see that you're an 8, but you only see yourself as a 6, what's going to happen? One of two things is going to happen here. Actually, 3 things are going to happen. One thing that can happen is you realize it. You like, oh, wait a minute. Everybody sees an 8, and I'm seeing a 6. Let me start seeing an 8. So now I can actually be at the level that everybody's seeing. So I can start performing at this level, and I can start getting those girls. That's one thing that can happen. The second thing that can happen is the level that people see you and the level you see yourself, they both alter themselves a little bit, so you kind of meet in the middle. So then you like a 7. So the girls see you a little bit lower and you raise yourself a little bit, but you're not at your peak now, because what they saw goes down because you didn't rise up to meet the challenge. The challenge was, all right, get up to the level that everybody's seeing you at. If you don't meet the challenge, then they're gonna stop seeing you like that, and it's gonna go down a little bit, right? Think about this. If any of you watch basketball, right, and the player gets drafted in a lottery, top 5 lottery pick, so everybody's looking at him like, we expect him to be the man, he's going to be the franchise player, right? And then he gets on the team and he starts playing, and he's not performing at the level everyone expected of him. What happens? Eventually they lower their expectations. They say, okay, this guy can't score 20 points, but maybe he can score 12. If he scores 12, then we happy. Like, all right, he scored 12, good job, you scored 12 points, thank you for doing what we expect of you. Because they went from wanting him to average 20 to saying, all right, maybe 12 points is what he's going to be. Maybe that's just who he is. So he gets 12 and people like, good job, you got 12. So now the standards have been lowered for that guy because he didn't meet the standard that everybody had for him. He didn't raise his level to what everybody expected of him, so they kind of met in the middle. That's what can happen. And the third thing that can happen is the worst thing, is if you stay at a 6 where everybody else is seeing an 8, you know what, eventually everybody's going to say, you know what, all he sees is a 6, you know what, that's what he is. He's a 6. So that's where he's going to stay. So those are the 3 options that you got when you look at yourself. You got to make sure that you're at the level of the woman that you want. So if you're looking at the women in the magazine and you consider them to be 10s, you got to start seeing yourself as a 10. And I talk about this principle all the time. Seeing yourself as a 10, because some of you might be watching this and saying, Dre, it can't be that simple. If I just decide that I'm a 10, if I was a 6 yesterday and I decide today that I'm a 10, does that just automatically mean I'm going to start getting women who are 10s? Not necessarily, because this is what happens. If you truly believe it, it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to believe it. To truly believe that you're a 10, you know what you're going to start doing? You're going to start taking the actions of a 10. You're going to start grooming yourself every day the way a 10 would groom themselves. You're going to start taking care of your body and making sure that your body is in the shape of a man who would actually be a 10. Not just talking about it, but actually being a 10. You're going to make sure that your clothes, your presentation is up to the level of whatever you would consider to be a 10. So if you used to walking around bummy, your clothes not clean, you didn't iron your shirts, your shoes dirty, and you didn't shave for 3 days, that's not the actions of a 10. But if you really believe you're a 10, you know what you're going to start doing. You're going to start making sure that your shoes are clean. It don't have nothing to do with money. So you can make sure you got on a clean pair of shoes, that you ironed your clothes, that all your clothes are clean and straight, not wrinkled, that you're shaving whenever you need to shave, that your hair is cut, that you don't look like you just rolled out of bed and just hopped outside and just went and did your thing at school or at work or wherever you at in the world. So you're going to start conducting yourself with the actions of the person that you see yourself as. Again, there's a huge difference between saying that you're something and really believing that you're something. Because you can really believe that you're something without ever talking about it. So you got to make sure that your actions are reflecting what you truly believe. And your actions do reflect what you truly believe, but whether you want to accept it or not. So if you're walking around and people seeing you as a 6, you know what? Your actions are saying you're a 6. And that's why all the women you getting, that's why they're 6s. Because you're going to attract, in the long run, whoever you are. If you're a 6 and you get with a woman who's a 10, it's not going to last. Unless you raise your level up to a 10. Or she lowers her level down to a 6, or y'all meet somewhere in the middle. But you don't want to meet a woman who's a 10 and then she lowers herself to an 8 to meet you in the middle. You don't want that, right? Because you got with a 10. Why would you want her to drop down to an 8? You want to raise up so that you can meet her. And if you don't meet her, then guess what? She's going to be gone eventually. Eventually, she's going to be gone. It's not going to last. So you got to make sure you get up to the level that you truly believe. And whatever you are attracting right now in your life, that's who you are. And if you want something better, you got to be better. Work on your game. Dre all day.
Thanks for checking out this video. Make sure you follow all my top content up here. Follow me on all your favorite social networks right over here. And make sure you are subscribed to catch all the new content I put on this channel every single day. Work on your game.